Welcome to the Europe Institute Berlin. My name is Axel Fersen. We have today the third part of the book presentation, The World We Want to Live In, a compendium of digitization, digital networking, and artificial intelligence. And today I speak with one of the authors and editors of this book, Frank Schmiedchen. Since 1999, he has been primarily involved in international negotiations in the European Union and the United Nations, including as a diplomat at the permanent representation of Germany to the European Union. And he is a member of the VDV Scientific Advisory Board and has chaired the VDV study group Digitalization since 2017. I'm glad to ask him about this chapter, and he will speak in general about philosophical aspects. Hey, Frank, how are you?
Yeah, thanks, Axel. Nice to meet you again.
We have today our book presentation, part 3. And yes. What is it in general? Give me some examples, and then I have 3 questions for you.
Yeah, it is in general, Stefan Bauberger and me, we two are the philosophical part in the team. And we strongly believe that we have to care for the general relationship between humankind or man and machine. So what we feel is that there's a strong development of a pseudo-religion coming up in believing that human beings are only the second best choice behind machine intelligence or algorithms or whatever it takes. So what we did is we had a closer look on what's going on partly in the more cyborgization direction, which means transforming human beings step by step into a social technical system, like a philosophical or religious starting point. Transhumanism, which is not really a concept, but a bundle of different floating ideas since the beginning of the 20th century. That's it.
Sounds like science fiction.
Yeah, that's right.
Science fiction. As I understood, you talk a little bit also about self-improvement. And self-improvement sounds for me always like a more pharmaceutical thing, but now you're talking about digital self-improvement. What could that be?
Yeah, it is mostly, or most simply, we're talking about neural improvements. Digital self-improvements are relevant if they trigger changes in the human identity and personality. And that is mostly the case when we have neural improvements. So a direct link between human brain and digital devices. So human-machine interface like brain-computer, in other forms of neural links, which connects directly human nerves with electronic devices, electronic technology, and serve to exchange electrical signals between the brain and respective technical devices. For example, performance-enhancing brain implants are used to improve memory performance. One or more interfaces could be implemented or implanted in the brain to connect with a chip which is in the brain or could be also outside the brain. And this has a link normal to a powerful computer device also. They're supposed to improve cognitive abilities. And the question is, if the upgrades are generating a new quality and finally that could put into questions human as they are as such. And this new quality would be the case if interventions lead to a fusion of technology and humans creating something new, qualitatively new, by changing consciousness or identity. So leading to a transformed creature. Normally, when you talk about science fiction, it is there comes the word cyborg in.
Okay, sounds very interesting. Changing consciousness and things like that. But what will bring the near future? Because everything happens.
Yeah, but that is ongoing.
Okay.
We have. For example, Elon Musk has created a company in 2016, Neuralink, which is working very hardly and reached in 2021 the level of macaque monkeys. So they can, with this interface, they can directly from the brain or can bring the macaque to do things only by his thoughts. So you can create or build up a direct link between thoughts of an animal or of a human being to the real world. So manipulate the real world only by thoughts. And that is now, that is not in future. As well as, of course, if you see all these improvements for blind people who are getting an analog possibility of hearing or seeing things by implanting digital equipment.
Okay, but these are studies. We don't see that in the reality right now. They are working on that.
No, that's the difference. Of course, it is in reality, but it is not on the market. And
okay.
that are two different things.
Yeah.
So for normal people, it has no influence, it has no impact. But for example, even in military, such things are used, like also drugs, as you have mentioned in the beginning. Changes of personality are underway.
Okay.
Mostly commercialized by telling people that they want help as human beings with huge lacks of capabilities.
Okay. So one point that you mentioned also in your article in this book, you talk about posthumanism. Posthumanism sounds very strong. What is that? Is that the end of mankind?
Let's bring it together. It is normally you have more in literature people talking about transhumanism and transhumanists. And then, of course, you have this posthumanism, which is divided in technological and anthropo-critical posthumanism, which is not important for us because it is not linked to technique. When it comes to transhumanism, it is the strong belief of transhumanists is that human beings are weak biological product, but on the same hand, up to us to awake universe by using our civilizatory, cultural, social, technical possibilities or inventions. Starting point is human being is weak and it's not really a perfect product, but we as humans have the unique capability to improve ourselves so that we can become step by step more perfect. And transhumanists wants to supplement or replace biological evolution on Earth and in the cosmos in general by human-based civilizational technical evolution. They want to accelerate the biological evolution, but to improve the position of human beings in universe. That is what a pure transhumanist would tell you. Yeah. And then you ask for posthumanism, and posthumanists are telling you something a little bit, but finally very strongly different. They say, okay, human beings have this capability. We are capable to invent singularity, and so we can bring the evolution forward. But, and that is the strong difference, then we should say goodbye. So posthumanists really are strongly believing that us as biological human beings are not necessary anymore after having invented the singularity.
Question: what is singularity?
A singularity means a strong artificial intelligence which has more capacities than all human beings together. So one singularity is like a technical god and having more possibilities than all human beings together, and it's still learning. So it's improving from the first moment itself, step by step. So it is something we cannot even understand within the short term, how it thinks and how it works. And posthumanists normally have the tendency to give the singularity like life status. And only to finalize this point between posthumanism and transhumanism, posthumanism believes that such a de facto God would create a paradise on Earth and in the cosmos. Transhumanists are more skeptical, believing that as human beings have created it, it is important that they're still in. And again, this company Neuralink was created also for the unavoidable war between strong artificial intelligence and humankind. You know, an entrepreneur who's gaining a lot of money is not doing it only because he has some rare dreams, but it's also very practical. Okay, that's it. And that describes a little bit.
Wow, we have to continue this. This is so important and so interesting. We will have other meetings here and discuss it because we have to
Yeah, Axel, I think we should end up with our view.
With our view?
Yes. And our view is that we believe that human beings are an integral, indivisible manifestation of life itself. And which means that we, as we are biologically in our physical constitution, from birth through growth, reproduction, decay, and our death, has a value in itself. So even if nobody wants to die, it makes room for new developments, for new generations coming up. So we believe that it is important to accept this rule of going from birth to death, as this is only a part of the overall idea that we represent life as itself in the universe.
Frank, if you say we, who is we?
We mean our study group, and so the book, and Stefan Bauberger and me. Our strong point is machines are instruments.
Okay.
Machines cannot act autonomously, and they should also not act autonomously. They cannot make decisions or bear responsibility on their own. This autonomy, this technical autonomy of machines is always only derived by humankind, by human beings. Therefore, the goal of all technical products must be relativized to those values that are assigned to these machines by us, by human beings. So that is our point of view.
Wonderful. I think we have a perfect opening for a huge discussion, but now I think we have the first flavor of all this. And the audience has to buy the book. We have now the German version in a bookstore. This is what I heard before. And very soon also in English. When do we have the English version in the bookstore?
I guess that the English version will be published in March. It will be also be available by Amazon, so worldwide. And of course, in Europe, in a lot of bookstores and bibliothèques. Yeah.
Wonderful. Frank, thank you very much. We will continue.
Thank you, Axel. And have a good time.
You too. Thank you. Bye.